In 1864, the American Julius Snider from New York developed a breech-loading system for the British 1853 rifle. This percussion rifle had been imported by the Confederacy for use in the Civil War in massive quantities. Nepal, a long-time ally of the British, was using British weapons, albeit, let's say, a decade or so behind their British counterparts. The Gurkhas greatly assisted the British in the Sutlej campaign of 1846 against the Sikhs, and as a result adopted the Brunswick rifle and the NCO's Brunswick smoothbore. The Sepoy Rebellion, or better known as the Indian Mutiny of 1857, caused the Gurkhas to send 12,000 troops to assist the British with this problem. Their help was much appreciated, and they returned to Nepal not only with copious quantity of East India Company weapons, but also the technology for newer models. In 1868, Nepal acquired the first Snider rifles, the British only having adopted them 2 years before, and they put them into production, which they maintained for the next 20 years. The Nepalese first obtained a Martini rifle in 1870, a year before the British officially adopted it. However, they did not manufacture any for at least 10 years, and then it was based on the Frankot's patent of 1878. This model, in fact, was much advanced on the British equivalent in that the action detached in one unit and not only in pieces. Around 1885, the Nepalese developed the Gehenna Martini rifle, which was based on a Wesley Richards design of 1869. The reason for this was their inability to satisfactorily manufacture coil springs, and the Gehenna rifle, in fact, only uses 2 V-springs. In the early 1890s, the Chinese started making threatening noises on the border of Tibet, and the British then gifted the Nepalese 6,000 Martini-Henry 1871 short-lever Martini rifles. These were the rifles, many of which had come from South Africa and possibly had been used at Rorke's Drift, the famous Zulu battle of 1879. These rifles were reconditioned in Fort William in Calcutta and then caravanned up into Nepal in 1894. The situation had not much changed by the turn of the century, and in 1906 and again in 1908, quantities of Martini long-lever rifles were delivered from Fort William to Nepal also. The long-lever Martini-Henry rifle was adopted in 1885. This longer lever was to assist in the extraction of the empty shell casings. In fact, it was the poor quality of the shell casing that was causing the difficulty with extraction, not the leverage of the longer lever. Improvements in the ammunition solved the problem. Finally, in 1912, with a state visit of King George V to India and also to Nepal, the king himself insisted that the Nepalese be given 2,000 of the latest Enfield rifle, the short magazine Lee Enfield of 1907, for his visit. This was the standard arm used by the British and its allies in the First World War. Possibly one of the most fascinating weapons we found in any quantity was this model 1853 Sharps type rifles and carbines that came with patchbox, saddle rings, everything you would expect. However, these were not as well made as Sharps would have made them in the United States at the time. We can speculate that these were Confederate copies. There isn't a single mark on any of the guns. The wood, we are told, is a Honduran mahogany not indigenous to Southeast Asia. Speculation is that the Nepalese manufactured them and copied examples that they may have come across. But, as a romantic, I personally would like to cling to the possibility of an American connection. We'll never know.